Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ed, that was a wonderful introduction. Usually to get that good introduction, you've got to be introduced by someone you've appointed to high office. So I was very moved by that. And to you and Susan, I think you have it right. We did marry up. I'm honored to be here for Dick Riley and for Tunky and the Riley family. I thank them for giving me a chance to come here. Governor Hodges, Bishop James and Mrs. James, Bishop Meadows, thank you all for being here. Dick started the Democratic Leadership Council in South Carolina with the late Senator Isidore Lurie. So Senator and Mrs. Joel Lurie, thank you for being here. We remember him so well. Senator Land, Mayor Coble, Mayor Nicholson, Billy and Harriet Kaiserling, and so many other friends of the Rileys who are here. And I have to mention, in particular, former Senator McKinley Washington, who with Dick was one of my chairs in '92 when I ran for president. When McKinley came out for me, only my mother thought I could win. Hillary and Chelsea were still undecided at the time. So I am honored very much to be here. I also want to thank my longtime friend Dwight Drake, who I got to be friends with when I ran for governor in 1978. And you may notice that Dwight and I both have bright red ties on. And we sort of agree that when you get old and gray, about all you got left in life is bright ties and whatever stories you can make up on the side to be funny. So I was glad to see him in a bright red tie tonight. I am honored to be here, not only for Dick Riley, who I believe is the best Secretary of Education this country ever had. But, and I'll say why more later, but also for the New Democrats of South Carolina. When we organized the original Democratic Leadership Council, it was in 1984, as I remember. By then, Dick and I had been friends for a good while. I was elected in 1978, and in 1979, Governor Riley, you remember that? That was almost, wow, 29 years ago, invited me to speak to the South Carolina Annual Democratic Dinner. And his father was still alive then. I think he was 93 years old or something then. He was anyway nearly grown. And I got to spend the night in the governor's mansion, and it's so old and beautiful I thought I was somebody when I woke up in the morning. But I'll never forget that. And I still have a little silver box with the symbol of the state of South Carolina on it that you gave me all that long time ago. And it reminds me of how important it is to have a lifetime of friends. But anyway, we started this DLC for a simple reason. We were getting our brains beat out in national politics, and we were frustrated because national politics was more and more becoming a war of words instead of a contest of deeds. And I've been through all that for the last 25 years, and of course, you won't be surprised to know that being a Democrat, I think it was primarily because of the takeover of the Republican Party by the far right wing, but I also think we contributed to it for too long by being for preserving what we did yesterday instead of thinking of something new to do for tomorrow. And America is basically a tomorrow country. And when we're focused on tomorrow and solutions and getting the show on the road, there's no country in the world greater than we are. When we sit around and whine and fight with each other, we're pretty pathetic, just like everybody else that does that. And so I think it's very important that you're honoring Dick Riley at a time when our country desperately needs to get back into the solutions business. We need to get the show on the road again. And that's what he was always about. I think that a lot of people in this audience will identify with this. When you reach a certain age in life, you realize that if you live to be 100, and I hope you all do, but even if you live to be 100, you got more yesterdays than tomorrows. And at some point when that happens, what you really care most about is seeing that no young person is denied the possibility of living his or her dreams. And nobody's taken out of this old world before their time if you can stop it. And it focuses you on what really matters about public service. The only thing that really matters is whether people are better off when you quit than when you started. The rest is all smoke and mirrors. And therefore, I think the ability to affect positive change in other people's lives is the acid test. And that requires new ideas and the capacity to turn them and good intentions into effective changes in other people's lives. So because of our involvement with the DLC, I say that I continue to be amazed that some people think we were a conservative organization. We did believe in balancing the budget, and I hope everybody else does now, because if you look at what these people have done to the debt of the country, people say to me all the time, you know, they've made trade a four-letter word because they don't enforce the trade laws, and the reason they can't enforce the trade laws is they have to borrow money from the people that we have the trade deals with. When's the last time you slugged your banker? I mean, it's a very serious thing. We've mortgaged our economic sovereignty because we forgot about basic ideas. So if we owe money to people who sell us things and have big surpluses with us, and we have to have the money, then we can't enforce the laws. Trade enforcement's about 1/4 per year what it was in the years when we served. But I say that not to retread that ground, but just to remind you that ideas properly implemented have consequences. And the wrong ideas effectively implemented have consequences too. And we make a great mistake when we divorce ideas from consequences, or the implementation of those ideas from consequences. The DLC was responsible for a lot of the best ideas, the New Democrats were, that were implemented in the 1990s. I'll just mention a few of them. We had the first, balancing the budget. Secondly, raising the earned income tax credit for lower income working people. That alone took over 2 million kids out of poverty. We had the empowerment zones to give the private sector extra incentives to invest in new areas. We had the National Service Program that offered people college scholarships in return for doing a year or two of community service. And the time we left, 500,000 people had served in that program, more than served in the entire 40-year history of the Peace Corps at the time. And it's only gotten bigger since. We had the idea of welfare reform, saying that, our view was very different from the Republicans. We said we don't mind requiring people who can work to work, but we've got to give their kids health care and nutrition and transportation and housing, and we've got to give these people training. And we're not going to punish people if they're not capable of succeeding at welfare and at child rearing and work. And because we wound up, after a couple of vetoes, doing it our way, we reduced the welfare rolls by almost 60%. But this is the most important thing to me.